get on that kerosene and burn them down quickly enough. Dignitas has their own options in teamfights too.
It's definitely going to be an interesting approach, and right now, I just think that there's way too much Dignitas is doing. Again, you talked about it's not necessarily a liability, Sylvanas, right? Her level 4, obviously, her level 4 talent with Lost Soul spreads, right? And for every enemy hero it hits, it reduces the cooldown. And so your positioning obviously is going to be key. It's really hard to avoid. But as we are going to head back into the game here momentarily, it'll be key things that we're going to have to keep an eye on as we see the camps being started on the left here for Tempo Storm, on the bottom for Dignitas, and on the right for their Shaman camp as well.
Yep, pretty typical at this point. When you're getting set up for the next Immortal phase, you want to burn the mercenary camps, hold on to the last second so you can get them pushing, so you can apply that pressure, which forces someone to pull on back. It's all about opening opportunities for your team to move in for an Immortal, or of course going for a fight based on your opponent's positioning. So, Immortal spawning in the next 10 seconds, both teams will grab their mercenary camps. Tempo will be pushing in the bottom, while Dig will be pushing in the top.
One thing to note here, Skullcracker picked up from Murden. Look for him to dive the back line, possibly try and get onto Malfurion and disrupt that, especially when you get post-10 Twilight Dream, you can interrupt that. So look for D.Va and Murden to try and disrupt that. Speaking of disruption, Azalea getting locked down, but nice cleanse there for Bakery.
Dodging out on the orb too. Dignitas already ahead in the Immortal race. Barb shots going off on there. And after they put out the initial 5 barb shots, you pull on back, allow them to continue to stack back up, and go back in for the engage. And this is something that happens in EU all the time. They are masters at dancing around the Immortal phase. So Tempo Storm will be looking for that engage, in particular from Furry, to get it on top of that Malfurion.
Take a look at that. Mene up at the top, just pushing that Shaman camp in, but now Snitch under assault. He's getting locked down. There is no cleanse, but nice roots from Bakery is going to keep him alive. The mech explosion is going to be here. Just zoning for now, though.
I like this little maneuver, the self-destruct in the top right corner, and then multiple members went to the left side here, because Tempo Storm expected Dignitas to maybe come rotate in, and that will allow for Fury to bring out the Stormbolt and maybe get a kill. Dignitas, though, knowing they are close to level 10, especially with that fort dying in the top left corner, are playing it slow and patient.
This is absolutely terrifying, and right now I think the fortunate thing for Tempo Storm is they're continuing to try and dive the backside. Bakery and Snitch are caught back there. They seem fine. Good roots again. But with level 10 now here, Tempo Storm's in all kinds of trouble.
That they are. 10 is here, and Dignitas turns up the heat. Cattle low here. He's trying to make some time. He finally does fall, and all 5 members of Dignitas will move towards the opposing Immortal and burn it down, while Tempo Storm will frantically look for 10. But they need a level and a half, J-How.
Trick, this is a terrible spot for Tempo Storm to be in. Not only did you not stop the Shaman camp earlier and you gave up the fort because that split push from Sylvanas, it also walked down and took keep wall top, which means that the lane with the healthiest lane will be the bottom lane. This is where the Immortal will push. But again, Sylvanas, level 10, I actually don't even know if Tempo Storm is going to survive this push.
I'm feeling like this game might be over. Tempo Storm needs a miracle. Dignitas, with their heroics, pushing without even the aid of the Immortal to break down the wall. Zalia as well in that front line. Tempo Storm moving in to try and catch some attention. Cocoon comes out. JPL burrow charges in, and that's going to be a dead Murden.
You're going to try and isolate for the moment as the mech explodes, but the keep already at half health, and Tempo Storm is on their heels. They are on the rope. Zalia being pushed to the back line, but JPL starting to push in, and they get the roots. They take down the mech, Trixler.
Oh, the roots hitting Cattle too, and he does once again. Poor D.Va falling, and look at this Immortal. Full health, half shields. Dignitas turns their eye towards the sky. They start burning the core down. It's getting low, armor being shredded already, and Dignitas looks to have Greymane in health E scenario. He just pushes down the core, and that's going to be at 20%, 10%, 0. Dignitas with the victory.
All I know is if you're looking to see how to control a game from 0 seconds until, I don't know, 8.5 minutes or whatever that was absolutely amazing execution of a composition, understanding your enemy composition, understanding your strengths. Their first rotation to their second rotation to the Immortal phase, everything was virtually flawless here for Dignitas.
Yeah, so Sylvanas is one of those heroes that if you can blindside your opponent, you can really bring out the strength of what she brings to the battlefield, and it was on full display there from Dignitas. There were some moments where Tempo Storm I felt like was playing really well, particularly the aggression in the early game where they were trying to get on top of Bakery, trying to get on top of even the Sylvanas when the opportunity arose, but there was never a moment for them to actually get the kill, which you need to get in that scenario. That's going to be game number 1, Dignitas going up 1-0. Let's go ahead and head over to Caleris and the crew.
And it ended as quickly as it began, it seems, here for Battlefield of Eternity. That is the power of Sylvanas on a map like that when you win your Immortals.
Yeah.
I voted with my heart,
Yes.
and I learned my lesson.
Sorry about that, Gilly.
That's all right. That's all right. That's what happens with Sylvanas, right?
Yeah.
You're forced to not be able. You can't make any mistakes, and some mistakes were made.
I'm really unhappy with this. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
What I want is North America and Europe on the same level, constantly fighting with close games, band down both sides having fun. And we came from the Western Clash, which wasn't pretty for NA. And right now, I'm very afraid that we're continuing the same trend, and I don't like it. From my European perspective, I of course love it. I mean, I'm still rooting for my own region here. But at the same time, I want this to be as close as it possibly can be. And right now, I'm not getting that. I hope that the next game is going to be a lot closer than what we just saw, because so far Dignitas is just running the momentum out.
Where does Tempo Storm step up, Fan?
You know, it's hard to say. The thing is, I know Tempo Storm really well, and they did play well as a team, you know, for the majority of the second half of HGC NA. But the Tempo Storm here is not the Tempo Storm that I remember in NA. Something happened to them. Like, look at their draft. Like, but when they drafted the Murden into the second pick slot, the second I saw that pick and how long it took for them to pick it and the map that they picked it on, like, I was like 99% certain from their second pick onward that they already lost the game.
Okay.
Like, that's just, you can't be doing that kind of stuff, you know? Something is going on there. I'm not sure what it is.
I have a theory of it, actually, and I was wondering if you thought this was true. Sorry. To me, it seems like Tempo Storm, when we asked them when they started to come in and do really well in the second half of Phase 1, they told us it was because we stopped letting ourselves make the kind of mistakes, the kind of dumb mistakes we were making before. Does it feel to you like they are so scared to make mistakes that they just make them? Like they're so scared to lose that they're not playing?
It might be something like that. Actually, something I heard amongst like the players and just the general like people behind the scenes is that so both Tempo and Roll20 had a boot camp in Europe before this event, and Roll20, it felt like the boot camp helped them a lot and it empowered them and made them stronger.
Right.
But for Tempo, a lot of people were thinking that the boot camp made them more nervous, less confident in themselves, and might have actually made them weaker, as bizarre as that sounds.
I don't think it sounds too bizarre. I mean, I know about the scrims that they played, and I know the results. And it felt to me that maybe their confidence was crushed quite a bit when you come from your region where you are very strong and you dominate, and then you struggle quite a lot in that boot camp, being it because of jet lag or anything else, does not really matter.
Right.
But that was a bit of a confidence blow.
Yeah, it's very possible.
But also coming back to that Murden, do you think that maybe they were just trying to outdraft Dignitas by assuming that they would focus again on a comfort pick like Murden picked that away? As weird as that sounds, because I'm with you, that Murden on that high of a priority, that threw me off too.
I mean, I've been watching Dignitas games, you know, both in the playoffs and in this actual tournament, and Jay's been on a new brack every single game.
Yeah.
Why would you pick Mert? I don't understand.